Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Linda Parker, and today I want to talk to you with complete honesty about something that very few people explain clearly after 60. The foods that quietly shorten your life, steal your energy, and accelerate aging, and that you can begin to let go of starting today. For years, many of my patients over 60 came to my office repeating the same sentence. Doctor, I'm getting old. That's just how it is. They assumed that fatigue, stiffness, poor circulation, brain fog, and slow digestion were simply the price of time. But when we looked closer at their daily routine, we found the same pattern. It wasn't age alone that was draining their vitality. It was what they were putting on their plate and in their glass, especially certain foods that the body tolerates when you're 30, but that become toxic to longevity after 60. So the purpose of this video is very clear. I'm going to walk you calmly and step by step through 5 foods that I encourage you to eliminate or reduce drastically after 60 if your goal is to live longer, with more clarity, more mobility, and more dignity. Not a restrictive, miserable life, but a longer life that you actually enjoy. We're not going to talk about miracle diets, extremes, or guilt. We're going to talk about strategy. Because your body after 60 is different. Your metabolism is slower. Your muscle mass is more fragile. Your circulation is more vulnerable. And your organs have already worked hard for decades. That means that what you eat can either become your best ally or a constant attack against your heart, your brain, your joints, and your circulation. As we go through each of these 5 foods, I want you to keep one idea in mind. Every small change you make now is like adding healthy days, weeks, and years to your future. You're not punishing yourself by eliminating these foods. You're gifting your future self more mornings with energy, more steps without pain, more moments of lucidity with the people you love. Let's begin with the first one. Food number 1 to eliminate after 60. Sugary drinks. The invisible sugar that ages your arteries and your brain. When I say sugary drinks, I'm talking about sodas, sweetened juices, energy drinks, sweet teas, flavored coffees full of syrups, and even those vitamin waters that seem healthy but hide several teaspoons of sugar in each bottle. Why are they especially dangerous after 60? Because sugar in liquid form enters the bloodstream extremely fast. It doesn't have fiber or structure to slow it down. Your blood sugar rises like a rocket. Your body releases a strong wave of insulin, and over time, that repeated spike damages your blood vessels, your nerves, and your organs. At 25, your body has more muscle and more metabolic flexibility to buffer that damage. After 60, things have changed. Your muscle mass is lower, which means less storage space for sugar. Your pancreas may already be tired from years of work. Your blood vessels are less elastic and more vulnerable to damage. Each glass of soda or sweetened tea doesn't just add empty calories, it adds inflammation, oxidative stress, and a faster progression toward insulin resistance, high blood pressure, and circulation problems. When circulation suffers, your heart, your brain, your kidneys, and even your intimate vitality pay the price. I've seen it many times. Someone tells me, "Doctor, I don't eat that much." But every day they drink juice at breakfast, sweet tea at lunch, a soda in the afternoon. They don't feel it immediately, but year after year their blood sugar rises, their waist grows, their energy falls, and their risk of diabetes and cardiovascular problems increases sharply. What can you do instead? Start by cutting these drinks completely for a few weeks. Replace them with water, sparkling water with a splash of lemon, unsweetened herbal infusions, or plain coffee or tea without sugar. If you miss the sweet taste, use small amounts of non-caloric sweeteners while your taste buds adapt. Over time, your palate becomes more sensitive, and natural flavors become enjoyable again. The benefits of removing sugary drinks after 60 are profound. More stable energy during the day, less abdominal fat, better circulation, and a much lower burden on your pancreas and arteries. It's one of the simplest and most powerful changes you can make for longevity. Now, let's move on to the second enemy. Food number 2 to eliminate after 60. Processed meats. The slow burden on your heart, kidneys, and vessels. Here I'm talking about sausages, bacon, salami, deli ham, hot dogs, pepperoni, and most cured or smoked meats that come in packages and last forever in the refrigerator. They are convenient, tasty, and culturally very common. But after 60, they become extremely costly for your health. Why? First, because they are loaded with sodium. Too much salt in a body over 60 is like turning up the pressure in old pipes. Your blood pressure rises, your heart has to work harder, your kidneys struggle to filter, and your risk of heart failure, strokes, and kidney damage increases. Second, many of these meats contain nitrates and nitrites used as preservatives and color enhancers. Over years, these compounds can transform into substances that irritate and damage tissues, especially in the digestive tract. A body that has already accumulated decades of exposure is more vulnerable to this chronic irritation. Third, processed meats are usually rich in saturated fat and very poor in fiber. That combination contributes to inflammation, unfavorable changes in cholesterol, and a heavier burden on your liver. I remember a patient in his late 60s who insisted, "Doctor, I barely eat red meat." When we reviewed his week in detail, we found bacon at breakfast, ham sandwiches at lunch, salami as a snack, and hot dogs on weekends. He didn't see them as meat, he saw them as everyday foods. His blood pressure was high, his cholesterol was poorly controlled despite medication, and his legs felt heavy because of circulation issues. When he replaced processed meats with real proteins, such as grilled chicken, fish, beans, lentils, and small portions of fresh, unprocessed meat, two things happened in a few months. His blood pressure began to stabilize and his energy improved. That change didn't require going hungry, just choosing protein sources that support life instead of attacking it. If you want to live longer and better after 60, processed meats should not be part of your daily diet. Reserve them, if you use them at all, for very rare occasions. Your heart, kidneys, and arteries will thank you in the years to come. Let's go to the third food. Food number 3 to eliminate after 60. Refined white flours and pastries. The soft foods that harden aging. I'm referring to white bread, industrial biscuits, cakes, sweet rolls, white flour tortillas, pancakes made with refined flour, crackers, and almost all those soft, airy foods that melt in your mouth and give you a quick but short-lived sense of satisfaction. The problem with refined flour is that, once again, the fiber has been removed. What remains is starch that quickly becomes sugar in the blood. But unlike sugary drinks, here we add another problem. These products are often combined with fats, salt, and artificial additives that make them highly addictive for the brain. After 60, many people begin to prefer soft foods because their teeth are more sensitive or their digestion slower. So breakfast becomes white bread with jam, morning snack is biscuits, lunch includes white rice and white bread, afternoon snack is cake with coffee, and dinner is more bread or refined flour. The result is a constant roller coaster of blood sugar, little fiber, fewer vitamins and minerals, and very little protein. What does this do to your longevity? It accelerates muscle loss because you're not giving your body enough quality protein. It worsens constipation because you're lacking fiber, which affects your gut, your mood, and even your immune system. It contributes to abdominal fat gain, which increases the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. It keeps your hunger unstable, making you eat more and feel less satisfied. A body over 60 cannot afford these empty, fast-digesting calories every day. You need foods that nourish and protect you, not that just fill the stomach for a few minutes. A practical approach is this. For every refined flour you eat, ask yourself, can I replace this with a version that has fiber and nutrients? White bread becomes whole grain bread with seeds. Industrial biscuits become a small portion of oats with nuts. White rice becomes brown rice or quinoa. Dessert cake becomes fruit with natural yogurt and a handful of nuts. You don't have to live without pleasure. You just need to stop giving daily space to foods that rob you of muscle, circulation, and digestive health. When you move away from refined flours and pastries, your blood sugar stabilizes, your gut works better, your cravings decrease, and your body has a much more solid foundation for aging well. Now let's turn to one of the most harmful combinations for an older body. Food number 4 to eliminate after 60. Deep-fried fast foods and industrial snacks, the oils that inflame your joints, arteries, and cells. Here I include French fries, fried chicken, breaded and fried meats, donuts, fast food items that leave a greasy stain on the paper, and packaged snacks like chips and similar products that are fried in industrial oils. Why are they so problematic, especially after 60? Because the oils used in many of these preparations are cheap, unstable vegetable oils that degrade with high temperatures. When an oil is heated again and again, it forms compounds that promote inflammation and oxidative stress. Think of it as a rusting process inside your body. This chronic inflammation affects your joints, making them stiffer and more painful. It affects your blood vessels, making them less flexible and more prone to forming plaques. It affects your brain, increasing the long-term risk of cognitive decline. And it contributes to weight gain and abdominal fat, which further overloads your metabolism. A person in their 20s who occasionally eats fried food has more physiological capacity to repair that damage. At 60, 70, or 80, the margin of error is much smaller. The recovery is slower, and the accumulated damage of decades becomes visible in the form of high blood pressure, fragile circulation, joint pain, and reduced stamina. Many seniors tell me, "Doctor, I don't eat that much, just a little fast food during the week because I don't have time to cook." But that little, over years, is enough to keep the body in a constant state of low-grade inflammation that accelerates the clock of aging. What's the alternative? Cook more at home using gentler methods, baking, steaming, sautéing with a small amount of oil, or using an air fryer instead of submerging foods in oil. Choose snacks like nuts, seeds, carrots, apples, or plain yogurt instead of chips and fried products. When you remove deep-fried fast food and industrial snacks from your daily life, your body feels the change. Less heaviness after eating, less swelling in legs, less digestive discomfort, and over time, a measurable improvement in blood pressure, cholesterol, and general vitality. Now we arrive at the 5th element, one that many people minimize. Food number 5, to eliminate or drastically limit after 60, excessive alcohol, the social habit that silently steals years of clarity and balance. Alcohol is socially accepted, and in small, occasional amounts, some people tolerate it without major issues. But after 60, your tolerance changes. The same amount of alcohol that seemed little at 40 becomes a heavy burden for a liver and a brain that have already worked for decades. Alcohol is not just about the liver. In older adults, it impairs balance and increases the risk of falls, which can lead to fractures and loss of independence, alters sleep quality, even if it seems to help you fall asleep. The sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented, and less restorative. Raises blood pressure and can interfere with medications for heart, diabetes, or mood. Affects memory and cognitive function, accelerating confusion and forgetfulness. Many people over 60 don't see themselves as drinkers. They simply have a couple of glasses of wine every night, or a few beers to relax, or mixed drinks with sugary sodas. But that routine, repeated daily, creates a constant chemical pressure on the brain, liver, and cardiovascular system. If your goal is longevity with lucidity, stable balance, and emotional stability, alcohol cannot occupy a central place in your routine. Limiting it to very occasional situations or eliminating it entirely gives your body space to repair, your mind space to clarify, and your nights a chance to be truly restorative. Replacing that evening drink with alternatives like herbal tea, infused water, or a relaxing routine such as stretching or breathing exercises may seem simple, but it sends a powerful message to your body. From now on, every night is for healing, not for adding extra work. We have covered the 5 foods to eliminate or drastically reduce after 60. Sugary drinks, processed meats, refined white flours and pastries, deep-fried fast foods and industrial snacks, and excessive alcohol. Each one attacks your longevity from a different angle: blood sugar, blood pressure, inflammation, digestion, and brain function. Together, they accelerate aging in silence. Now, I want to bring this back to real life. Imagine 2 people, both 68 years old. On paper, they are the same age. But their choices are very different. One continues with sweet drinks every day, processed meats on sandwiches, white bread at every meal, fast food several times a week, and alcohol almost every night. They don't smoke, they don't eat that much, and they think that's enough. The other person, at the same age, decides to make changes, replaces soda with water and herbal teas, swaps processed meats for grilled fish, beans, and fresh chicken, exchanges white bread and pastries for whole grains, fruits, and nuts, says goodbye to fried fast food, and opts for oven-baked or air-fried meals, reduces alcohol to rare occasions, or eliminates it completely. 10 years later, those 2 people no longer look the same age. One walks slowly, gets tired after climbing a few steps, struggles with memory and balance, and depends on multiple medications. The other moves more fluidly, maintains better mental clarity, has more stable blood pressure and blood sugar, and preserves independence longer. Is it just genetics? No. Genetics sets a stage, but daily choices decide how fast or how gently the curtain falls. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but to give you power. Because each of these 5 foods is something you can decide about. You can open your refrigerator today and choose what you want your next years to look like. You can open your pantry and literally see which packages represent years stolen from your future. If you feel that you've spent decades eating in a way that wasn't ideal, don't use that as an excuse to give up. Use it as the exact reason to begin now. Your body responds to positive change at any age. I have seen people in their 70s and even 80s who, after eliminating these 5 enemies and embracing more natural, simple foods, experience improvements in energy, digestion, sleep, and even mood. Let's summarize everything in one sentence. After 60, living longer and better is less about adding exotic supplements and more about removing the daily foods that quietly push your body toward disease. You don't need perfection. You need direction. And the direction is clear. Less sugar in liquid form. Less meat that comes from a package and lives in the fridge for months. Less flour without fiber that dissolves in your mouth and spikes your blood sugar. Less food bathed in old, overheated oils. Less alcohol pretending to relax you while it steals your balance and clarity. In their place, choose water, real food, simple preparations, colors from vegetables and fruits, quality proteins, healthy fats, and meals that your grandparents would recognize as food. That is the path to a longer, more lucid, more independent life. As we close, I want to leave you with a message of hope. It is never too late to renegotiate your relationship with food. You might not control everything that happens in your body, but you do control what you put on your plate and in your glass today. And that decision, repeated day after day, builds the future you will inhabit. If this message resonated with you, take a moment after this video to look at your kitchen with new eyes. Identify which of these 5 foods is most present in your routine and start with that one. You don't have to change everything at once. Choose one, remove it, and observe how your body responds. Then move on to the next. Step by step, you'll be designing a longer and better life. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I'm Dr. Linda Parker, reminding you that longevity is not just about counting years, but about filling them with quality, clarity, and dignity. If you want to continue receiving clear, honest guidance about how to protect your health in this stage of life, I invite you to subscribe, leave me your questions, and share this video with someone you love who is over 60 and deserves to live many more good years. Your next decade begins with the next decision you make in your kitchen. Make it count.